was about 6 years ago. I woke up in the morning because I had an interview scheduled to hopefully get a new job because I was not enjoying the job I was in. And before I had to go to the interview, I had to go to the dermatologist, which was an appointment that I had scheduled 6 months prior, because it's hard to get in with a dermatologist sometimes. So I had to go from the dermatologist straight to my interview. And I hadn't seen my dermatologist in maybe a couple years for whatever reason. We were catching up, and I adored her. She was looking through my hair, which was nothing that she'd ever done before, but she's doing a skin check and doing all the normal things and having conversation while we were doing it. And after that, I was telling her how I was excited about this new opportunity and I was in a very positive zone. And then she took a break and stood in front of me and said, "So, tell me about your hair." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And she said, "You don't know what's going on with your hair?" And I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." She goes, "Okay, so don't freak out," which of course naturally meant that I was freaking out inside.
Yeah, I would freak out if someone told me not to freak out.
Yeah, so she goes, "You've got quite a bald spot on the back of your head. You didn't know that it was there?" And I was like, "No." "Where is it?" She's like, "It's right here." She pointed. She put my hand back and I felt it, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And she goes, "Are you stressed?" And, backstory, I was definitely stressed. I was crying at work every day. I was not getting along with my boss that I had been working for 3 years and knew something needed to change. And I was like, I don't know. But I was like, "I guess so." She's like, "Okay, so I know that you really need to go. And I think that what we need to do here is we probably need to give you some scalp injections, but we're not going to have time to do that today with you having to go. So let's set a schedule, an appointment for another time. Here are some things that you need to do, blah, blah, blah. Hand me this packet." And I was just in shock. I think normally in those times, you don't know what to do or say. I wasn't going to cry, but I probably felt like I was going to, because it's like, oh my gosh, this seems very vain, but it's my hair. And my hair was very long at the time. And, she took a picture of it. And this wasn't just like a little bald spot. It was like big as my forehead. It was like the size of a Coke can. And it got worse over time. And so I had to go and practice this confidence that I was gonna rock this interview, which I actually did, and I don't know how I did it, but I had to basically shut down that grieving side of my brain and go into this interview. Lo and behold, fast forward a few months later, they never got back to me on the job interview, and I was just deteriorating more and more. And that was in November that I found out. My hair, it kept on growing. I told my boss about it. Everybody in the office knew that something was wrong with me. And then in January that following year, I just did not show up to work. I didn't show up to work for about 8 weeks until I then resigned. And I quit my job. And for the first time in my life, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had been a historical career changer. I went from engineering to teaching to higher ed to now having to decide and feeling like I could never go back because, I took a mental break. And people are going to look at me differently, and, there's something wrong with me, or, I wasn't cut out for that. And I had to basically pick up the pieces and rediscover what I was going to do. If I was going to try to go back and have the confidence to, go back into the work that I was doing that I loved, but just didn't love the circumstances that I was working under, or to start something new again. And it took a really big hit to my confidence. I disconnected from everybody. I was probably my lowest point. I still cried every day. I know that I spent the first 2 months while I was on the medical leave, just taking my kids to daycare, driving home, laying in bed, binge watching TV until I had to go pick them up. It was rough, but I had to hit my burnout.